Hey there, I am Tommi Kokko and welcome to the IP Guitars YouTube channel. Now it is with great pleasure that I finally get to announce to you the newest addition to the IP Guitars lineup, Ariadne, the new multi-scale model for IP Guitars. This is IP Guitars' first venture into the multi-scale territory, and I have been looking forward to this for a very long time. As you've already seen in our previous video, you got to hear a little bit how this sounds. In this video, we shall go over the general spec of the guitar and all the new features that are contained within. So let's have a closer look, shall we? So back in 2016, 2017, I created this guitar, which is called the Scum. And I always wanted to take this body shape and use it for something. So this is the starting point of how Ariadne came to be. And as you can see, it's not far off. You can tell where it's come from, but just refined and fine-tuned into a multi-scale version. The IP Guitars Ariadne. This is our take on a multi-scale instrument. And as personally, I am more of a single scale kind of person. I haven't really played multi-scale instruments that much. I decided to contact someone who has more expertise on this matter. And these guitars were designed in cooperation with Samuel Suokas of the metalcore band Ikinä. I reached out to him and I've wanted to work with the band for a very long time. I've enjoyed their music ever since I found out about them, and I thought that this would be a great excuse to kind of get him involved with creating something from a player's perspective. Now there's a bunch of different people doing multi-scale instruments in various different ways, and there were a couple of things that we wanted to include with this model in particular. Everything down to how the body is contoured, the carves and cutaways, construction method, and the difference in the two scale lengths. That is a very important piece of how these guitars function. Now the two guitars we have here, the 6-string and the 7-string, they represent two different sorts of spec that you can spec these guitars out with. We have what we call a light fan, where we will start the fan, so the perpendicular fret, the straight fret of the multi-scale will be at the nut, and we'll have a difference of only ½ an inch on both of these guitars. For example, with this 6-string, this is a 25.5-inch scale length on the treble side and a 26-inch scale length on the bass side. And it starts fanning out toward the bridge. Meanwhile, on the 7-string, we have a 26.5-inch scale length on the treble side and a 27-inch on the bass side. And the perpendicular fret is placed more commonly what you will find on the 9th fret. So it fans out equally on both sides. Now the reason why we decided to go with this sort of mentality was essentially to make playing bigger chord shapes a lot easier. And all that was focused on not having too big of a spread when you're playing lower up and doing chord work, because it might end up with some very tricky fingerings otherwise. Some other key elements that we decided on, of course, lumen lays come as standard on all guitars that I make, but we also decided to put in a blower switch, because especially with the 7-string, which is tuned as a 7-string, so it's in drop A with an added F sharp at the bottom. So it is technically more or less like an 8-string. In order to cut through the mix when playing a really low tuned breakdown part with the bass on a live situation, needing a little bit more power, we tried to come up with ways that we could boost that signal. Now, as this is passive electronics, there's no real way to apply a boost, and we didn't want to put a battery in, so we decided on a blower switch. Flip the switch, and the output goes directly from the pickup straight into the output for a very quick way to get a little bit more oomph instead of having to dial everything to where you want it to be. Both of these guitars are equipped with Lundgren pickups, the M6 and the M7 for the 6 and 7 strings. They have brass nuts, Schaller locking tuners and strap locks, a push-pull volume for coil splitting, 3-way toggle switch, and a pure tone jack. Now the pure tone jack is something I've wanted to try for a very long time, and I'm very glad to finally try it out with these guitars, and I look forward to the results. The differences in the bridge, we have an option of having a string through, as we have in the 6th string here, or the option of having top-loaded strings. So no holes in the back, and you load the strings from the front. The bridges are Granger single saddle bridges, and I loved using Granger bridges on all my guitars, and I'm very glad to be able to do that with these ones as well. With these first prototypes, we're gonna really put them to the test and see what we can do to make the next iterations better, and if there's any little tweaks that we can do along the way. But I am extremely excited to finally share these with you, and please, if you're able to come to the Helsinki Tone Fest 2024, these will be there, and you can try them out for yourself. When it comes down to wood choices on these prototypes, we're not certain that we're going to keep these woods particularly, but wanted to do something a little bit more flashy. So the 7th string, we have Bastogne walnut top with a Finnish cherry body, walnut and maple neck, ebony fretboard with flame maple binding, and an oil finish. Meanwhile, the 6th string, that comes with an olive ash top, alder body, stained purple, oil finish, maple and walnut neck as well, and an ebony fretboard with walnut binding. We have Symptoms extra hard frets, 16-inch radius for the fretboard, silver and aluminium powder, inlays, like I mentioned, lumen-lay side dots, and yeah, dual action truss rod, but that's, you know, kind of normal nowadays. So without further ado, the IP Guitars Ariadne. Available now. Go and check the website and order one for yourself. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Do I know what I'm gonna say? Probably not, but we'll figure it out as we go.
Ohayou gozaimasu. Tommy-san here.
Yes, exactly. You. Now my brain just completely fried. Give me a sec.